Dr. Payal Mukherjee. I'm an adult and paediatric ENT surgeon with a special interest in hearing and balance disorders. I work at the Sydney ENT Hearing and Balance Centre, which is located at the Sydney Adventist Hospital. So the Sydney ENT Hearing and Balance Centre was something that I endeavoured to set up purely out of frustration that my patients were travelling in between too many caregivers through too many locations, and I was finding that the care of the patients was getting fragmented and also getting delayed because you have to wait for the notes to come through. It's gone to a different set of rooms. There's a lot of confusion, and that was frustrating me, so I can't imagine how much the patients were being frustrated. And the idea of combining all of that and also being an academic, being on a teaching hospital site, so you have the benefits of the patients directly benefit of the research that's being inspired by their questions, and the students also in that field learning of that environment as well, was the concept behind setting it up at the Sydney Adventist Hospital. How it works is that it's a multidisciplinary service. It works with being all the caregivers being co-located under one roof. So to have an adult and pediatric ENT, a speech pathologist, an adult and pediatric ENT surgeon, to have a hearing, to have the diagnostics, so an audiologist who tests from the entire spectrum, from kids to adults, not just in hearing, but also balance disorders, and to be able to do everything from what you need as a clinical tool to everything to what we need as a research tool, because it's when we can't, sometimes we have roadblocks or patients who have difficult tests, and then we can go back to say, oh look, we tried that in the research world, why don't we use that particular tool here, see if we get the answer that we need to solve this clinical problem. And then of course we also have a physiotherapy, a balance specific physiotherapy, and also have researchers who work with us all to bring the latest technology that we are developing at the University of Sydney into the clinic. So there's better translation of that research from the lab into clinical care, and it only happens when everyone's seeing it. So it's great for the researchers because they're seeing what the clinical problems are, and it's great for the clinicians because they've got the researchers, they're educating them how to use the research tools properly, and ultimately the patient benefits from it all because their problem, you sort of take ownership of their problem rather than sort of saying to them, well, here are 5 addresses and 5 locations and 5 different appointments you have to make. We'll make that all for you, or these are the options, and you're free to choose these options if you need. So it's sort of, the idea is that just streamlines the process for them. I think the patients, I haven't heard any complaints. I think the patients are generally happy, and I think particularly the patients with multiple problems, they benefit the most because they're the ones who struggle. So if the patient has